siding with Republican states that argued he lacked authority. The SAVE plan, which reduced payments and allowed quicker debt erasure, is now halted, likely increasing payments for millions of borrowers. The first U.S.-Russia peace talks on the Ukraine war concluded in Saudi Arabia. Secretary of State Marco Rubio stated only President Trump can drive the war to a conclusion. And KFC is moving its U.S. headquarters from Kentucky to Texas as part of Yum Brand's plan to have 2 corporate headquarters in Irvine, California and Plano, Texas. KFC will maintain offices in Louisville. Get BIN News on Demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
If you or someone you know is affected by the Los Angeles wildfires, you are not alone. No matter how sad, scared, or heartbroken you feel, Cal Hope is here for you and all those affected by the devastating wildfires. Find free, safe, and confidential mental health support at calhope.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are facing the prospect of not having LeBron for tonight's home game against Charlotte. Soreness in LeBron's left foot and ankle forced the Lakers to list him as questionable for the team's first game in the second half of the season. The soreness led LeBron to sit out Sunday's NBA All-Star game in San Francisco. The Lakers play at Portland Thursday night. It's unlikely the 40-year-old LeBron will play in back-to-back games. The Lakers are at Denver on Saturday. A positive sign for the Lakers tonight is the increase in minutes for Luka Doncic. Doncic averaged 23.5 minutes in his first 2 games with the Lakers. Now that Doncic has recovered from a strained calf muscle, Lakers coach J.J. Redick said the minutes restriction on Doncic will be lifted. Look for Doncic to handle the ball a whole lot more if LeBron does not play. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd, you are invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
First things first.
Things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not to unsettle you. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the move. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis. First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First, and my very first thing today and every day, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from the Most High, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders. And let's go. We got a lot to talk about, a lot going on. So it is a Wealth Building Wednesday, so good things happening. Hour 3, speaking of wealth and building, I want to talk about, we're going to open up the phone lines, but I want to get your thoughts and have some community conversation around the ASAP Rocky verdict on yesterday. We are obviously going to take a look at what's happening in national and international headlines. We have our Wealth Building Wednesday business spotlight. So we'll meet an entrepreneur, another one being adventurous and coming all the way live into the studio. And this first hour, I am super pleased to have in the studio. Well, we all can use spiritual guidance and a little political activism every day, but especially these days. He is a third-generation pastor. He serves the historic McCarty Memorial Christian Church in West Adams. That's the neighborhood in Los Angeles. And before McCarty Memorial, he served as assistant minister at Burbank First Christian. He's affectionately known as Pastor Eddie, but he certainly is also known as a community activist. Pastor Edward Anderson, welcome.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I feel like whenever I'm, starting the show and you're here, I feel like, well, I should just hand the mic to Pastor Edward and let him sort of bless the mic for the morning.
Well, it's good to be here, and good to see you. Happy New Year. I'm not seeing you this year. Yeah, it's good to be here. And I was just thinking this morning that we are really dealing with how to deal with our shadows right now in America, and that scripture reminds us that we don't have to fear evil, that God is still with us, the divine is still with us. And so while the people who are in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue are trying to flood the zone and make us distracted, they're just trying to get anxiety reactions out of us, we got to stay focused and be in alignment with our assignment.
It flows right out of your mouth when you say it, and it feels very comforting. But I do have some questions. Like,
Let's do it.
In times like this, it's easy to feel like we've been abandoned by God.
Absolutely.
So what do we do with that? I mean, I remember when my sister was murdered, I had that feeling like God has abandoned me, or God doesn't love me, or I'm mad at God. What is going on right now, God? I didn't pray for this.
Yeah. I think that feeling of abandonment is real, right? Like, to not feel your emotions is to deny the very essence of God inside of you. To not feel that you have some anxiety or fear is to deny the biomimicry of almost of like what God has given us to know when there are things that are not feeling just right. But the scripture reminds us about over 100 times that fear is there, right? Fear comes, it takes over us. But the invitation is that when we are weak, to be made strong by community. When we are weak, to realize that it may seem like God has abandoned us. We can look from children of Israel, even to our ancestors. It feels like God has abandoned us 400 years of slavery. It feels like God has abandoned us. Why are, they're trying to take out all the black jobs, DEI jobs. They're trying to take out the Board of Education. They're trying to take out the EPA. They're trying to redo the entire government. They are attacking culture itself. But the question, but the response that Jesus always says is, do not fear, I am with you. I am with you always, even until the end of the age. And so we may be at the end of one age, but there's always a regeneration coming along the way.
What do you make of people, and this is also a recurring theme that I always think about, when folks say, okay, we just had these disastrous fires in LA. They were saying burn Babylon and burn Hollywood burn and, that certain natural disasters, whether it be a hurricane or a fire, that they are punishment because we're not godly enough or, whatever that justification is. How do you answer that kind of mindset?
That is for me, is the oversimplicity of scripture. No, I hear, if you were reading that, I see the signs, and I'll say, yeah, if you're talking about the last 50 years, but if the world's been around for 4 billion years, and when Pompeii happens, is that the end? When Diocletian's walking through Rome and letting the city, Nero's letting the city burn, is that the end? When we were in slavery, was that the end? I don't think so. It's not the end. I think what we see here is that, these are God events. The world is also trying to heal itself, right? And spiritually, the question is not always to look at and go, oh, there's something out there that's wrong. I think the first thing we have to do is look internally and figure out, all right, well, all this is happening. What is my response? Is my response to cower in fear? Is my response to say this is the end, just, screw it, let's, see how this turns out? Or is my response to go deep within, to be still and know that God is still God? Is it to realize that I got work to do? Is it to realize that we are making the world as we are living in it as well, and that God has not fallen on God's job? Maybe we have been a little derelict of what our job is to love one another, to be stewards of the world we are a part of, to take care of community. And so, yes, there are ways in which the Spirit wakes us up. And so I would say, more than saying this is the end, look at it as an alarm. It's Black History Month, so school days. At the end of it is wake up. It's another wake up moment. And we've yet to wake up. We're still sleeping in our comfortable settings. We're still being lulled away. Look at the American government being lulled away by wannabe dictators and all kind of misinformation, when in actuality, it's time for us to wake up and organize. There's no body coming to give us a panacea. There's no silver bullet. Our faith makes us strong. Our prayer, our community, our love for one another, our ability to keep our hands on the plow, as our ancestors said, and hold on.
What does it mean? How do you look for spirituality? We look for comfort. We look for wisdom. We look for guidance, discernment. Hopefully improvement of ourselves. But when we see folks in the world fighting what I call religious gangbanging, whether it be, and I know that this, the Gaza problem is not really a strictly religious one, but when you look at that, or you look at now what's happening in America, where we seem to be having more of a theocracy, where they've just created an office of White House faith, and the leader of that office says that Black Lives Matter is the Antichrist, which makes one wonder who she thinks the Christ is. I wonder, in that context, does religion help us or does it hurt us?
I think there are lessons from religion that we can learn from, right? I look at what is happening in the White House very much akin to, if I look for the Christians that are listening, think about King Nebuchadnezzar, one who put his name on everything, who made his creed the creed of the land, who told those who were, basically he stole the Hebrew boys, their names are not Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They have actual names, and told them, you have to bow, you have to cower, you have to do the things that I want, you have to dance to my music, you have to conscript yourselves, you have to be compliant. And yet, when they were thrown in a fire, they said, my faith is stronger, my ancestors taught me better, my my wisdom, my understanding of what God is actually doing in the world and is better, they didn't burn up in the fire. Those four, God shows up. The presence of the angel of the Lord shows up. But then Nebuchadnezzar finds himself in a field 7 years later, losing his mind, because all that he has tried to do to break the spirit of those which he has oppressed did not work. And so there's something in us that cannot be crumbled. Our ancestors used to say, freedom over me. Before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave, and to go home to my Lord and be free. They were physically in chains, but they never allowed their spirit to be changed. The question in this moment is, for everyone, will you allow your spirit to be changed? Because if you do, then they've already won. The evil is won, the devil is won, the demons is won, whatever you want to call it, the spirit, the jinn, whatever, it's already won. But history, religion tells us, if you're talking about Islam, there's an inner jihad and an outer jihad. If you're talking about Buddhism, right, that you have to realize that Atman is still Brahman, that there is still something inside of you that comes forward, right? If you look at traditional faiths and religions across the world, it reminds us, our ancestors didn't get free in Haiti because the French said we're leaving, right? Mm-hmm. They've met outside of the field and said, we may be oppressed, but we are going to dance and pray and sing and pour libations until something else happens and we have enough strength to fight back. So do not feel bad. I mean, you didn't ask me to preach, but Hebrew says...
Well, I kind of did, I think. I think I kind of did. Like, folks are in crisis, but also I think when in times like this, it brings up existential questions about faith, people, faith, religion, spirituality, people, morality, character.
Yeah, religious gangbanging isn't new. I also say, like, I tell you all the time, when you look in any religious tradition, you got, there was a battle between Sunnis and Shiites. There's a battle between Jews and Christians. There was a battle between Hindus, Buddhists, and Jains. There's always been battles of people fighting
like
each other.
Catholics and Protestants.
Catholics and Protestants, like on and on. And the question has always been not who wins, but what values, what morals stand the test of time. And in all those traditions, it's, did you care for your neighbor? Did you find yourselves in self-improvement where you raise the bar on your spirituality and come to the understanding that we are truly one? That there is a spirit or a God or energy that is moving in all of us. And no matter, I tell people all the time, the scripture does not say that weapons will not be formed against you. The scripture says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper.
Which means there's definitely a weapon formed against you.
And it's definitely going to shoot.
Pastor Edward Anderson, McCarty Memorial, is my guest. You're welcome to get in the conversation, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
It's been said that when someone you love has Parkinson's, you have Parkinson's.
The Parkinson's Foundation knows that the disease doesn't just affect the diagnosed. It affects everyone who supports and helps care for them.
If you have questions, the Parkinson's Foundation has answers.
We can help you understand the disease
and give you tips for living a better life.
Find your answers at parkinson.org or call 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives. together.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
What you want to do, huh?
KBLA Talk 1580 is thrilled to share that we have been named as a semi-finalist for the coveted American Climate Leadership Awards, honoring our climate work last year. We're also delighted to announce year 2 of our Climate Justice Crusade. This year's $2 million 12-month campaign will link and combat the relationship between climate change and poor health outcomes for African Americans and the poor. Climate inequities have taken a toll with multiple health triggers in the Black community, such as extreme heat and poor air quality, made worse by the recent wildfires. Our work to ensure climate justice and climate equity continues. In the coming weeks and months, you'll be hearing a lot more about our 2025 climate campaign. To learn more about our plans for this year and the companies and organizations supporting us, log on to our website at kbla1580.com. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black. Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now, talking with Pastor Edward Anderson. You're welcome to weigh in at 800-920-1580. Started off philosophical and spiritual, and I actually think, it's good to have you here because sometimes when we ask these questions by ourselves, we can veer into all kinds of paths. I feel like, the 23rd Psalm of, not that I'm a Bible expert, but that just happens to be a prayer that seems super, super helpful right now. Walking through the valley of the shadow of death feels very real at the moment.
Absolutely. That I've been thinking about that a lot. We walk through the shadow of the valley of death. And the thing is, we're all grieving. I think that's the other piece that I just don't want to do spiritual bypass on the radio. I want to be truthful that we're all grieving because whether you voted for the man in the White House or not, and everyone's like, I ain't vote for him. Well, I mean, looking at the numbers, half y'all didn't go vote anyway. So so you kind of voted.
That is true.
So whether you voted for him or not, we are grieving because a way of life and what you thought was true is no longer true.
Well, and here's the thing. Well, several things. This is something I philosophically, like throughout my whole life, I kind of say sometimes like, well, why do evildoers thrive?
Yeah.
Why do evildoers thrive and folks that are striving to make the world better, struggle? Why does the president have a golden potty and other folks don't even have, a roof over their head that are much kinder? How is that rewarding people?
If that's the age of question. I can tell you, in seminary, we've been debating that for thousands of years to figure out.
Well, we don't have thousands of years this morning, Pastor.
Years. We just, if people say God raised the just and unjust, we don't understand fully why someone who is literally making themselves a version of a demigod to themselves, a narcissist who worships themselves.
Is that like, if you worship yourself, is that a false idol?
It is a false idol. It's a false idol. Like someone who has made themselves an idol.
Yeah.
And demands worship.
Whew, that kind of gave me a creepy crawly. Jerry Anderson's in the chat saying Satan's job is to make followers of God think that he has abandoned them. Everything is not a sign. I get that. But speaking of Satan, your Muslim friend, Dr. Melina Abdullah was here the other day, and we were speculating, has the president made a deal with the devil? And we weren't trying to be funny,
Yeah.
because when you can do all of these crazy things, when you can lie, when you can take food out of the mouths of children and convince people that you're the one to feed the children, right? When you can violate all the basic laws of not just the universe, kind of like the planet, like international norms. I'm just going to take Gaza. And you continue to thrive, and you get reelected with 34 felonies. It's a fair question. How would we know if the guy's actually, been at the crossroads, right, signing a deal with the devil?
Yeah, I mean, that is an interesting proposition that comes forward. I don't know if that's a thing. I will say that evil and feeds on fear. Fear feeds on anxiety, and anxiety thrives where there is much doubt. And what Trumpism has done is that Trumpism has taken basically this is political, but they've taken basically the base of Reagan. They've taken the nativists, the fiscal conservatives. They've taken the poor, white class, and people who are having economic hardship, and they weaved them together in a message that prefers an autocratic leader. Because if you have an autocratic leader, then it is certainty that you know who is in control and in charge. And they have fed that. So, I mean, it starts with Reagan, goes through, remember the Tea Party, goes to the Tea Party. And Trump has literally been the perfect foil, right? I mean, Trump is the boogeyman, but I think the greatest, saying the quiet part out loud was that last week? It's been so many. It seems like it's been here for a year. But was it last week when Elon Musk and his son were in the Oval Office?
Yes.
Elon Musk, a man who was raised in South African apartheid, who has never really been healed from that, and wants to make America the country of his youth. It's in the Oval Office, and the president, who postures himself as the most powerful person in the United States and most bully in the United States, coward, was sitting there like a 4-year-old child, to the point that Elon Musk's son looks at him and says, "You're not the real president." I mean, that I've never seen that in the Oval Office in my entire life. I've never seen that in a principal's office. I've never seen that with someone who believes that they are actually fully in power. And so the sickness that we have is, yes, it's racism. Yes, it is autocratic. Yes, it is power is corrupting. But there is a deeper sickness that is happening in our nation, and Trump is literally working out his issues. But it's not just Trump. It's the guy, Mr. Vaught, who literally gave speeches all throughout Trump's quote-unquote exile, who said that his goal is to torment bureaucrats and to deconstruct government from the inside out. It's that the fact that all of these department heads that they've put in front and the entire cabinet don't even know what the departments do, but because they don't know what the department do, they're putting pressure on people who have been holding the line for 30, 40, 50 years, and they're losing their jobs, right? That's the sickness. The sickness is power. It's the sickness of inferiority. It's the sickness of, I'm going to try what I can to bring pain upon you because I feel like you never saw me.
And of course, you're talking about Russell Vaught, who is now the He's now the director of the Office of Management and Budget, and he's one of the architects of Project 2025. We've got news, traffic, and sports, then more with Pastor Edward Anderson and you on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. 86-year-old Andrew Lester, charged in the shooting of black teenager Ralph Yarl, avoided trial by agreeing to a plea deal for lesser charges. He pleaded guilty to second-degree assault, avoiding the original felony charges. President Trump suggested Ukraine started the war with Russia, dismissing complaints about Ukraine's exclusion from peace talks. He criticized Ukraine for not ending the conflict, while President Zelensky insisted no decision can be made without Ukraine. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has a court appearance today regarding dropped federal corruption charges. The DOJ's decision caused backlash and resignations. Adams denies making a deal with the Trump administration. Governor Hochul is monitoring the situation. And Glorilla, D'Angelo, Lenny Kravitz, and Meek Mill will headline this year's Roots Picnic Festival happening May 31st through June 1st in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
If you or someone you know is affected by the Los Angeles wildfires, you are not alone. No matter how sad, scared, or heartbroken you feel, Cal Hope is here for you and all those affected by the devastating wildfires. Find free, safe, and confidential mental health support at calhope.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are facing the prospect of not having LeBron for tonight's home game against Charlotte. Soreness in LeBron's left foot and ankle forced the Lakers to list him as questionable for the team's first game in the second half of the season. The soreness led LeBron to sit out Sunday's NBA All-Star game in San Francisco. The Lakers play at Portland Thursday night. It's unlikely the 40-year-old LeBron will play in back-to-back games. The Lakers are at Denver on Saturday. A positive sign for the Lakers tonight is the increase in minutes for Luka Doncic. Doncic averaged 23.5 minutes in his first 2 games with the Lakers. Now that Doncic has recovered from a strained calf muscle, Lakers coach J.J. Redick said the minutes restriction on Doncic will be lifted. Look for Doncic to handle the ball a whole lot more if LeBron does not play. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. S&P volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an S&P open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit casmpvolunteer.org. Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
And today you're waking up with the pastor of McCarty Memorial Church, senior pastor, I should say. Folks, see your young affect, because you are in fact a young person, and they sometimes think you're not the senior pastor, but in fact you are.
Absolutely. And actually, this year makes my 11th year as Pastor McCarty.
11th year, wow.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. We've been doing this for a minute.
Yeah, but you started in your 20s.
Yeah, I started in my 20s. It's something good about starting in your 20s, you know? Yeah, so, but I invite people to come out. Church at 10:45 to get some inspiration and to remind ourselves who we are and whose we are and what we are able to do together. We say at my congregation, we see love and act. That we see each other, we see what's happening in the world because we love one another, and we act with kindness and do what is required, whether that is justice, whether that is housing someone that needs help, whether that means mentoring or taking a kid to school, doing a protest, or just sitting there and praying with one another and understanding how the Spirit is moving in this moment. See Love Act, see it at 10:45 at McCarty Church off Adams.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, E.E. Wilson is in the YouTube chat, which you can get to at KBLA 1580 on YouTube, and go to the live stream. She says, my mom is suffering talking about the president. It symbolizes everything she hates. It is destroying her life. She says things like, everything I learned as a little girl is not happening.
Yeah, and I think of what that comment says. It reminds me that right after the election, I found myself on many calls, especially with Black women who were over the age of 65, and in tears, because it was a trigger warning from their youth of everything that they thought that they fought for and overcame through Jim Crow was now being thrown back in their face or being dismantled. And it seemed like that there was no recourse, that the church didn't know what to do, the quote-unquote elected leaders didn't know what to do, and so it became their world. And I hear that often, and I would say in these times, for E and for everyone who's struggling, there was an old song. I keep talking about old songs. I actually could probably tell I grew up in the South. I'm a Morehouse man.
Your ancestors are in the building.
My ancestors are always in the building. But there was an old song that they used to sing that asks a simple question that says, "Do you got good religion?" And the response was, "Certainly, Lord." And they were asking, "Do you got good religion?" And they would say, "Certainly, Lord." And then they would go through and tell stories through music about times that were not their own, but were told to them when it was rough. And I think there's a lesson there that what Trump's idea and what this government's idea is to help make you lose who you are. Their main goal, by all their policies, is to make America lose what you thought you were. Because in the absence of normalcy, they can create a new narrative, a new mythos, a new mythology for what we are doing moving forward. But good religion is that religion that says, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Good religion is the one in Hebrews that says that we are not of those that shrink back to destruction, but we are the ones who move forward because we have a great cloud of witnesses. Good religion it reminds us that Psalms 46:4 still says, "Be still." Being still does not mean that you don't move. Being still means to be quiet enough so that you can still hear the still small voice of the genuine, of the divine, of God speak to you and say, "I am with you." even in the fire, I am with you. Even when you're wading in the water, I am with you. Even when there's only a light flickering far, far away, and you can only see it partly and dimly, I am with you. So every now and then, we just got to remind ourselves that we got good religion. That the fact that me and you are here today means that we got good religion, because there is a God somewhere. There is a God somewhere that woke you up this morning, as the old folks used to say, and started you on your way. You may not be in control of much, but you are in control of how you think, what you put into your body. You are in control of if you're going to give love or hate today. You are in control if you're going to stand up. And this is how I know it works. The new immigration czar said it's been hard to carry out all of their plans, and families are being torn apart right now. If you're in LA, you're listening to this, if you are an immigrant, and when I say immigrant, I'm not just talking about our Latino sisters and brothers. I'm talking about if you are Asian, if you are from the islands, if you are African, if you are a person who someone has said that you need papers to be in this land, even though God does not require you to have papers. That they're here, but he said it wasn't working because people know their rights. And the question is, do you know your rights? Your divine right that God says you deserve to be here. If there is breath in your body, then that is a cosign from the Almighty that you deserve to be here, and there's still work for you to do. So I see you, sister. I hear you. I'm sending you love. And know you're meant to be here.
Molly Bell is in the chat co-signing. The answer is certainly, Lord. Yeah. You mentioned, what the sort of what I call the new Confederate MAGA Republican Party, what their goal is to make us pull us out of our character, out of the character of our individual selves and the character of our neighborhoods and communities. You guys did a seminar.
Yeah.
Break that down.
Yeah. So with the Empowerment Congress, shout out to the Empowerment Congress, been around for over 33 years. Last night we did a seminar on Trumpism. What is Trumpism? How did it come to be, and where are we going from here? How do we deal with it? And we broke down from Reagan to Trump, how this type of government evolves, what their goals are, what's the difference between Agenda 47 and Project 2025. And so I think that should be on the Empowerment Congress's website, or they definitely have the slides. So reach out to the empowermentcongress.com, and we will be glad to share with you how you can respond in this present age.
Yeah. And I notice it's the workshop is not called Trump, it's called Trumpism. So and you said it earlier, it's not focused on one person, but a philosophical and I was going to say moral or ethical, but it feels immoral and unethical approach to how we deal with other people, what governance means, what leadership actually means. That means you don't think that it goes away if he goes away.
I think it only goes away if, and this is a call to all of you may not be a Democrat, you may be third party, all my people who are here want to do work. This is a call that we have to fashion a government and issues and policies that deal with the real hurt of people. We spend so much time,
whoever those people are, whether they're MAGA or
just
progressives, people, whoever they are.
Yes, you have with the real hurt of people.
Yeah.
That, listen, with eggs being $20, It does not matter if you are a Democrat or Republican. It matters is if you got enough money to pay $20 for some eggs. With all of these DEI and defunding of the Board of Education, it does not matter if you lived in a red state or a blue state, because the truth of the matter is all of us depend on the government to make sure that there is hot lunches and free breakfasts for our kids, to make sure that test scores can rise because there are books and that the government is subsidizing the education. So it doesn't matter what party you are, all of us are being hurt. What matters in this country right now is, are you wealthy or not? What matters in this country right now is this going to be turned into an oligarchy or a plutocracy, right? That's what matters in this country right now.
Right.
And so we have to fashion a worldview that says that we need a social safety net. We need to fashion a world that says that being a citizen is still the most powerful thing you can be in this country, that in this grand experiment, and not let the grand old party, which is a weird name, but the grand old party win, right? We need to say this grand experiment that we care about the social welfare and what social justice looks like, and that your privilege is that you have a voice, that all of us have a voice, not that your privilege is how much money you have in your bank account and if you are a part of the good old boys club or not. They keep talking meritocracy, and I'm wondering where, because ain't nobody that...
meritocracy would require merit.
Yeah.
We're talking with Pastor Edward Anderson. I got another existential question you can answer for us when we come forward. I know many good Christian who is praying for a particular person's demise.
Oh,
yeah. Are they going to hell? I mean, is it okay? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is it wrong to pray for someone to disappear, die, or just go away? Pastor Edward Anderson, and y'all know who I'm talking about. KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Life blooms in beautiful ways. The Afia Center invites you to celebrate At the End with Red Gala, honoring the strength and resilience of Black women living with HIV. Join us for an evening of empowerment as we launch the Barbara Cambridge Scholarship and kick off Herstory Month with our theme, Life in Full Bloom. Your support helps create vital HIV programming and builds a future where every voice is heard and every story matters. The End with Red Gala, because every flower deserves to bloom.
To learn more and to donate, visit theafiacenter.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Febreze. So my home is also my office, and before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up, then spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Be heard.
Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Pastor Edward Anderson of McCarty Memorial Church. I just made him go to work, double work this morning, huh? Service is at 10:45. Yeah. And I love how precise you are with that. And you got a lot of other programs in your church, too, besides the services.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do a youth build. So if you have a young person who traditional school's not working for them, we have a youth build at the school. We have a preschool as well. And then through our Community Development Corporation Partnership for Growth LA, that we've it's Black and Jewish novel, that we do a workforce development program called Project Jubilee at the 92% retention rate, where we do life skills and then training for jobs. And this year, we are launching a social enterprise out of that as well. And so that begins in April. And so you'll see advertising for that. Check the LA Focus for that. We do after school program at Freedom Schools. So we're talking about how do we have culturally competent Freedom Schools. Last year we did it in Inglewood, and then we did it over the summer. This year we're looking to partner with LAUSD in Inglewood again. And we do Freedom Schools comes out of the Civil Rights Movement. And then, we have our big Farm to Table program, right? When we're looking at what is destabilized in our economy, it's food. And so last year we gave out 15 grants. This year we're opening up the grocery store in Leimert Park. It is happening. It's called The Garden.
Yay.
Go online. We plan to have that open by September of this year. We're doing B2B businesses, so make B2B and B2C. What that basically means is we're taking it straight from the community gardens and we're bringing it to restaurants. We're bringing it to your local grocery stores. We invite you to be a part. You can volunteer any Saturday you want to be a part of that, or start a garden or get hired. We're creating jobs, right? We need jobs for the community.
Yeah, and locally grown food. I mean, Lord knows with what's happening at the Food and Drug Administration, you might want to know the source of your actual food that you're ingesting. Absolutely.
And so we are, that's how we moved forward in the past. And people say, oh, this is brand new. I'm like, nah. This has happened in LA before in the 40s and 50s, and we're just bringing it back.
You can find them online at McCartyChurch.org. Yeah. McCartyChurch.org. Okay, so I asked you, I know some very good Christians who are, we've had these conversations on the phone. Is it, is it a sin to pray for somebody to die so that life can get better for the many? And would it even get better? I mean, that's a separate question.
Yeah.
But
so this question around, do I pray for someone's demise?
Right.
is the question that I'm hearing. I would say the prayers of the righteous still avail much for those good Christians. I want to speak Christian language because these good Christians. And in Scripture, what we see is that people pray for relief and let God figure out the solution.
That is so wise.
And so God figured out the solution in many, many ways. With Pharaoh, God was like, I'm going to take y'all out. And Pharaoh kept on coming. And then Pharaoh's heart was hardened. And there was some plagues. And he drowned. With Nebuchadnezzar, he went crazy. With the people in the New Testament, where they came against Jesus, they saw themselves, and I remind you that even the demons realized who Jesus was and was like, all right, we've done enough. We got to get out of here because the power of God is stronger. So yes, pray for relief. Pray for that God will right the ship. Pray for that the man who is trying to make himself an idol will not stand, and that he will have to be still and to recognize that this is a God thing and not your thing. Pray for deliverance. Pray for that the oppressor will take his foot off of your neck, and so that you can continue to move forward. Do you pray for that person's death? I'm not quite sure if you pray for someone to die, because do you want someone to pray for you to die, but you may pray for them that they no longer will be in power. I think that's a righteous prayer. I think you got to pray with power and say, Lord, until they do right by me, make sure every day in their family does not prosper, that they feel the same pain that they inflicted upon me. I think that's right. In fact, that's the prayer of Sojourner Truth. Sojourner Truth said, Lord, until they do right by me, make sure that whatever money that they got comes back into my community. Make sure that they feel the same pain. That's not a negative prayer. That's a prayer for righteousness.
That's not retribution. That's righteousness.
For deliverance. That's a prayer for justice. That your work would be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Okay. Well, we could spend an hour on this. I feel like that is such good guidance of praying for relief and then, don't tell God how to do God's job.
Yeah, let God do God's policy. Let God do God's policy.
Let God do God's job. Yeah. Do you feel like with all of the things being cut out by the federal government, not just jobs, but grants for local community programs, USAID, that the church is going to have to play an even bigger role in, caring for those in need?
Yeah, if we are in a third Reconstruction, then I would remind us that during the second Reconstruction, that after the troops were pulled from the South, the role of the church and of faith was to be the social safety net. They were to continue the work of the Freedmen Bureau, even though the Freedmen Bureau had begun to be dismantled. It was to continue the work of education and create the universities that we now attend. It was to make sure that we educated our people and then created cooperative economics in our community. This is the role of faith. And this is why I tell folks that by spiritual malpractice, this prosperity, naming and claiming gospel, that spiritual malpractice is white Christian nationalism that wants you to assimilate by all costs, is dangerous. Because we only have America today is because people of faith got together in their basements in churches after the Second Reconstruction and said, we know the way forward. And we are going to organize the way forward. We're going to preach it, but then we're going to fully embody it. That's how you get a social gospel that changes the dynamics of America at the turn of the century. That's how you get people like FDR and Eleanor Roosevelt realizing what needs to happen, because there were churches and communities of faith, mosques, temples, doing the work. And so this is our work. So yeah, I expect every church. Listen, I'm gonna just be keeping one-handed. If you're a black church right now and you're not, and you Black History is every month, but if you're not helping your young people learn their history right now, I think you're not doing your job. You're not being faithful. If you are not helping your people find jobs and creating career pathways, you're being unfaithful. I think, because that's what the call is in this time period, and this is what we've always done in America. If there's going to be a third Reconstruction, right? So right now we're in the Ulysses Grant years. Let's just put it in historical context. We're in the Grant years. So the Klan's going to run rampant right now. But after the Grant years, we saw a resurgence of black folks standing up and figuring out how to fight back, and they organized themselves. So the question is, the faith community, are you up for the task?
Right, and Paul Lee's in the chat saying there's pastors and churches that are in on this right now. Of course, you kind of addressed that when you talked about the rise of the Christian right. But it doesn't mean that black churches and liberation theologians don't heed the call, right?
Oh, yeah. This is where the black church liberation theologists, we show up. Please be clear. The faith is doubt seeking understanding. It can either be used as a tool for good or a tool for bad. We see right now what is winning is a narrative of Christian nationalism, nativism, and manifest destiny. It's white supremacy and God face.
White supremacy and God face.
But that is not the faith of our ancestors. That is not the faith of freedom. That is not the faith of liberation. That is not the faith that calls us to create an NAACP or a SNCC or a Black Panther Party. That is not the faith of Nat Turner, Sojourner Truth, Martin Luther King, Fannie Lou Hamer, Ella Baker. That is not the faith of Black Lives Matter. That is not the faith of Reverend James Lawson or even your mama and them. That's not their faith. So hold true to, like I said earlier, good religion.
Certainly. Pastor Edward Anderson, thank you so much for waking us all the way up this morning. It's so very deeply appreciated.
Thank you. Y'all be blessed and know that God is on your side and that God's goal is still for you to prosper, have a good life, and that greater is he that is in you. Greater is God that is in you. Greater is she that is in you than they that are in the world.
News, traffic, and sports, then Wealth Building Wednesday on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. 86-year-old Andrew Lester, charged in the shooting of black teenager Ralph Yarl, avoided trial by agreeing to a plea deal for lesser charges. He pleaded guilty to second-degree assault, avoiding the original felony charges. President Trump suggested Ukraine started the war with Russia, dismissing complaints about Ukraine's exclusion from peace talks. He criticized Ukraine for not ending the conflict, while President Zelensky insisted no decision can be made without Ukraine. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has a court appearance today regarding dropped federal corruption charges. The DOJ's decision caused backlash and resignations. Adams denies making a deal with the Trump administration. Governor Hochul is monitoring the situation. And Glorilla, D'Angelo, Lenny Kravitz, and Meek Mill will headline this year's Roots Picnic Festival happening May 31st through June 1st in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
If you or someone you know is affected by the Los Angeles wildfires, you are not alone. No matter how sad, scared, or heartbroken you feel, Cal Hope is here for you and all those affected by the devastating wildfires. Find free, safe, and confidential mental health support at calhope.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are facing the prospect of not having LeBron for tonight's home game against Charlotte. Soreness in LeBron's left foot and ankle forced the Lakers to list him as questionable for the team's first game in the second half of the season. The soreness led LeBron to sit out Sunday's NBA All-Star game in San Francisco. The Lakers play at Portland Thursday night. It's unlikely the 40-year-old LeBron will play in back-to-back games. The Lakers are at Denver on Saturday. A positive sign for the Lakers tonight is the increase in minutes for Luka Doncic. Doncic averaged 23.5 minutes in his first 2 games with the Lakers. Now that Doncic has recovered from a strained calf muscle, Lakers coach J.J. Redick said the minutes restriction on Doncic will be lifted. Look for Doncic to handle the ball a whole lot more if LeBron does not play. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, now I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd, you are invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you, neighbor to neighbor, bringing you resources and what you need to know. For up-to-the-minute info on distribution hubs, help, and volunteer opportunities in the Altadena area, please visit Neighborhood Servants or Pasadena Community Coalition on Instagram. The Wild Seed Collective is offering free grant workshops to businesses impacted by the fires who are unable to access care. Contact Executive Director Dr. Ted Koss at tedkoss@